How's it going, guys? Sean Don here. Technical analysis video coming at you. But before we get started with that, I just want to say that my new coaching business, my new brand, Grip and Rip Athletic Co., Grip and Rip, whatever you want to call it, is live now. The website's live. Finally, I've been talking about a website for like 2 years now. Here we are. It's live. As you can see, home, merch and stuff coming later. But coaching, you want to get some coaching? Honestly, all you have to do is scroll down, and boom, there you go. Coaching, online technical coaching, in-depth technical analysis videos like you see here. Complete programming, throwing and lifting, and then throws programming by itself. So if you're interested, if you're interested, go check it out. Uh, I really want to, give back to the throwing community, help you guys out, help you guys develop your technique and achieve your goals. So go check out my website. I'd appreciate it. And sign up. Let's get to work. So, moving on. Where are we going here? All right, so here we have Samone Turner, thrower at Baylor University, hammer weight thrower, teammate of fellow Baylor thrower Hannah Link that I also coach. So that referral process is pretty cool, I suppose. Hopefully I can help kind of iron out the problems that Samone has with her technique as well. She just signed up for a technical coaching, which is unlimited technical coaching. She gets to send me as many videos as she wants. And I'm kind of starting her off with this in-depth technical analysis to give her an idea of what I think she needs to work on, the broad strokes. So let's take a look. I'm going to look at two videos here. I have two weight throws because obviously it's indoor season. This is something she sent from earlier this year that I think looks pretty solid, like very lined up, pretty centered, pretty connected, relatively speaking. Solid finish. So we're going to look at that one and then also compare it to this one, which I believe is more recent. Slight postural issues, but mostly it's just disconnection with the hips. That's all it really comes back to. So we're going to look at the good video first. I'm going to take a sip of my coffee here. It's piping hot. Monday morning, been super productive. So, one more time with the good video. So, pretty good patience, pretty good connection. All right. So, frame by frame, we're going with the wind and 3-turn, which is totally cool. I think a women's weight thrower throwing that 20-pound weight, winding is totally cool. Most women are strong enough to throw the weight. I'm not saying most men aren't, but I think a 35-pound weight for some men is a bit much, especially when you're winding it. So, yeah, the wind looks pretty good. Entry looks pretty chill. You can see left side's pretty lined up, left shoulder, hip, knee, ankle, all that stuff kind of in one line. Very good patience. You're holding your head. That left side holds as the ball goes through 0. You can see your hips shifting back a little bit. So this is going to be something that I highlight in the next video more. But right now, it's not too shabby. You're pretty centered, relatively speaking. If you look at let's see where your shoulders are, where your head is, where it's lined up in between your feet, just about, pretty much 50-50, I'd say. Right side, left side. Super good patience. I like this end of double support movement. Level shoulders, level hips, and then I think you could be a little bit more active with this right leg in single support. You could probably get it down a little bit earlier. I think you could probably get your right foot down probably about here, but or at least there. But then you can see it just floats just a little bit, but it's not bad. Decent posture here. Right hip not totally underneath you, but it's not terrible. You have this really solid right foot, so your right heel's on the ground, which means you're going to be pretty well stabilized. And then, boom, you can see as this left heel comes down, it touches, and this left side, boom, stabilizes. You can see it shift just very slightly. So this left side shifts and stabilizes. Left shoulder, hip, knee, ankle, all that stuff's pretty solid once again. And then as you go on through double support, you can see once again pretty well balanced between left foot and right foot, hips, shoulders, mostly where the head is at. It's pretty much right in the middle between your feet. Right hip working very well in this turn. You can see a little bit, I think, of left foot sliding, just a little bit. Just just a little bit of sliding, which means that left side's a little bit tight. So you could relax just a little bit more. But this right hip's getting up into the ball pretty well. Pretty solid single support movement. Right foot being pretty efficient. And then you catch. Right hip way more underneath you now. Shoulders level, hips level. Catching the ball positively, meaning like before 270. Stepping a little bit forwards with the feet is great. Come back through. Left heel grounds again. Left side's pretty stable. Right side, right femur going right with this right hand with the implement. Right hip getting up a little bit. You could get a little bit more back on this right side, just a bit. Looks like you're starting to get pulled over that left just a little bit by the ball. Single support movement's pretty good once again though. And then you see you're a little high in the legs. You float. See that left foot come off the ground just a little bit there. So you're floating a little bit. You kind of gather. That's what I kind of call it. Both legs kind of land at the same time. You probably have some good stretch. As we've talked about, you're pretty strong and have enough strength to throw far for sure. So just gotta relax you a little bit. Catch though, a little bit not as deep, just about 270. Come back through, stable left side as ball goes through 0. Hips up and into the throw, pretty solid finish. And you can see you get pulled over to this left side just a little bit in the finish, which like I said, in the previous turn at the end of the double support, you're a little bit over that left side, just a little bit too much. So that being said, this throw is pretty nice. So now we're going to go look at that more recent throw to give you some perspective on what you need to work on. So same thing, wind, 20 pound, totally cool, nice centered, stable, balance. And then an entry, one more sip of coffee. Got to lubricate the vocal cords. So coming through on entry, same thing as before. Nice stable head, nice stable left side is great. Now as we go from here, pay attention to the hips, specifically the right hip. And I guess the ball as well. The ball will go left. Oh, I didn't see that earlier too. Also, watch this left foot. This is totally independent of everything I was just about to say. Look at that left foot coming off the ground as you're supposed to be turning on it. That's, I'll be frank, not the best thing. So got to keep that left foot grounded. That's a sign once again that this left shoulder, this left side in general, is tight, and perhaps a sign that your hips are going somewhere they're not supposed to, which is back and away from the ball. And that relates to what I'm about to say. So the hammer, or not the hammer, the weight, sorry, goes left. Weight gets super long and left. Your shoulders are super long and relaxed. That's like a great upper body position there. But if we watch the hips, where do the hips go? Ball goes left, hips go back. So up until this frame right here, so from 0 to 90, the hips are shifting away from the hammer. You can see this right hip kind of shifting back especially, but like I said, both the hips with this left foot coming off the ground just a little bit and pulling back, that means the hips are kind of shifting away. When ideally, if you go watch that first video again, like I said, in turn 2 and 3, you do it very well, where that right hip, where this right femur gets up into the throw and turns with the hammer. You need to connect your hips better here. So you need your hips to turn with the hammer. The hammer goes left, the weight goes left, hammer, weight, doesn't matter, interchangeable. Hammer weight goes left, this right hip kind of needs to follow it. That needs to be connected. It can't be, this distance between the implement and your hips can't grow as it goes left. You need to keep it the same distance. So that's kind of where everything goes wrong, in my opinion, is that entry. That being said, single support's okay. You catch just a 270, solid right heel, hip underneath you. Chest down just a little bit. You could have your chest up a little bit more, have a little bit better posture. Heel comes down, left side, pretty stable again. But now you can see there's some disconnection between the legs. This right foot mostly this lower limb from the knee down, you can see is not quite connected. Look at where the left foot is pointed. Look at where the right foot is pointed. Back towards 0, more towards 90. Femurs are a little bit better, more aligned. So you can see this is a sign of disconnection. It's a sign that this left shoulder is a little bit tight. And if we go back a few frames, you can see that this left arm is kind of tight across the chest, which means you're kind of clamping down and pulling ahead with that left shoulder. And based on the entry, that left foot shifting as well, that is another sign that the left side is kind of doing just a little bit too much. So, that being said, left side's taken over here. Right side, I'm sure you can't really feel this right leg, right hip too much in this throw. Could be wrong though, but that's my estimation. And then, as you can see, you're going to start tracking down the what would be the right sector line, if there were one. You can see you're kind of shifting and spinning out just a little bit. Getting pulled over this left side a little bit too much. And then the big thing here, this is another big thing that is a big indicator of what's going wrong earlier in the throw. You can see on this catch, look at this lean right here. A nice counterclockwise lean in single sport is necessary, but if you do it too much, it's hard to kind of recover from. And you can see you over rotate just slightly. Your right foot's kind of just back even with your left foot, maybe a little bit towards the camera. And then you catch, and you can start to see your posture fade just a little bit. So that connection quite isn't there. Your hips are under you, but there's no separation between, there's no tension between your hips and the ball. There's no rotation through the torso. Everything's kind of facing 270. So you come back through and you do a good job. The left heel comes down of shifting back over this right side, but you can see this right femur and then this disconnection in that right, kind of calf shin, lower shank, whatever you want to call it. You see the disconnection there. Left foot wants to open, right foot stuck behind you. So the only way to get out of this, that left side is going to pull more. And it only gets worse kind of as the turn goes on. Left side doing all the work, right leg kind of just there along for the ride. And then hip does get up into it a little bit more. But with that left side pulling back so soon, doing so much work, you're probably going to over rotate again. You're also kind of high in the legs here as well. Just barely on that toe. And then this position is not the best as well. There's, the ball's pulling you up and away down towards the left sector line instead of towards 180. And then you see when you get pulled up, that left foot comes off the ground. Like I said, you kind of gather. If both feet come off the ground during a weight or hammer throw, it's usually not a good thing. So large gather, over rotated right foot. Hips aren't underneath you as much as they were before. Catching late after 270, come down. This is kind of a funky position. And then your body's literally doing anything it can. You can see most of this comes from, once again, the left shoulder kind of pulling around. And then you're kind of off balance too. As you're leaning over this, you have a clockwise lean here when you should have more of a counterclockwise lean. Your hips should be up into the throw. Your shoulder should be back behind the hips. And then you come through. And yeah. So, lots of info here. But basically when it comes down to it, we'll go back to the first video. In the entry. See if we can get it. Yeah. Boom. Right here. Just got to get that right foot moving with it well. Right foot, right hip. Connect that right side a little bit more. Relax that left shoulder. Chill it out. Think about kind of, I don't know if you think about pushing your hands, but don't think about pushing your hands. Don't push your right hand. Use your left hand to kind of guide the hammer across and use your right hip to work it. Push with the right hip or the right leg, not the right hand. So, yeah, lots of info here, Samone. Hopefully this helps. Let me know if you have any questions. If anybody else out there would like a technical analysis, go to my website, gripandrip.co, .co, not .com. That'll take you to some random website, and maybe one day I will purchase that domain. But in the meantime, I don't have the $5,000 to do so. So, thank you for watching. Until next time, Sean Don, peace and out.